just living my life, just living my life, just living my life. Just living my life, just living my life, just living my life. It's my time. Just living my life, just living my life, just living my life. It's my time. Just living my life, just living my life, just living my life. It's my time. I came from Philly, then I moved to Harrisburg. Spent time in Cali, blowing on the rarest herb. Made some bread, was a manager then. Good at dealing with people, couldn't handle the pen. Money had me scrambling like Randall back then. Ups and downs with my chick, hard to handle it, man. What's the dough really mean without family and love? Still go for your dreams, but put family above all the shallow shit. People try to take you off your path, you don't allow that shit. Stop wanting love from those that don't know you. Appreciate your folks that seen what you go through. Why would I stop? I don't even know how. Papa Zan, that's the only way I'll slow down. I could entertain y'all, but I'm no clown. Puff and puff on that L till it blows down. Just living my life, just living my life, just living my life. Just living my life, just living my life, just living my life. Just living my life, just living my life.
Hey everyone, Anthony with Interviews with Everyday People. Just want to let you guys know, thank you so much for the continued support. Everything that you're going to hear today in the podcast, check out the links below. Check out our merch page. You can get some cool little swaggy swags and definitely rock that around the area. And all that money does go to buying new equipment. We do have our eyes on some cool stuff that also will help grow the show. If you have noticed on the page, Bang & Beers podcast is definitely getting crazy. We are very behind in our beer log, so we're trying very frantically to get caught up in that. So we actually bumped up to like 2 or 3 episodes a week. It's out of control. It's bad. Yeah, we did one Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you're interested and want to come hang out with us, we're going to be doing that as well. Since this airs, there's going to be some different interviews. We're going to do another live interview at Culture to Culture. That'll happen this Friday, but this won't air until then. But I'm sitting here. If you want to introduce yourself.
My name is Sean West. I am an actor and motivational speaker.
Awesome, man. So we were talking a little bit. How did you come across finding us?
So I found you guys literally just scrolling through Facebook. And with my acting and speaking careers, I'm a huge, like I said, Joe Rogan fan. And I was just like, oh, I love doing podcasts. I love being able to interact with people and stuff like that. Because, I don't know, sometimes I feel like, I don't know, especially people from my area, I feel like people put me on this like pedestal and stuff like that. Because like, I do a lot of these motivational videos. I've done some funny skits and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's what I like to show.
When you say people put you on a pedestal, is it because you're like known in your area, or is it like where they're waiting for you to fail type thing?
I think it's because I'm known in my area. I guarantee you there are people out there who
100%.
There are like people out there who want me to fail, but it's because of my past. I've used and abused drugs. I'm also a suicide survivor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My last suicide attempt was 5 years ago. Since I got clean and stuff like that, I overdosed on over 2,000 milligrams of a sleep tranquilizer, and I was found on the stoops of St. John's Church in Northumberland, Pennsylvania. I don't know how my friend found me, but she found me. I left her a suicide letter and everything, and she found me. And when I came public about that and all that other stuff, an individual on an anonymous app was like, yes, I was there too, but I'm not going to tell you who I am. And I really want to know who the individual is, because like they're a part of me now. And I just want to thank them. You know what I mean?
So they were there with your friend?
They were there with my friend, apparently, and it's just like they messaged me through this anonymous app that was going around on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, where people can just...
and they messaged me like through this anonymous app, and it's just like, I kind of want to know who you are so I can like sit down and say thank you.
100%, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so now... Yeah, that app was very entertaining. I had a very good time
very
with that
entertaining.
Yeah, I messaged people just where was an idiot with it. And then I don't know, it changed, but I had a lot of interesting messages on myself I received on there, but I don't know, I didn't get anything serious like that. But that was a cool thing that you received. Definitely.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. People were saying some like weird stuff, but like that message itself stuck out. I was just like, then who are you? Type of thing, because it's just like. that person's a part of me, you know. They helped save my life.
Yeah.
You know.
So was the suicide something that you struggled with while you were using, or was it something you struggled with before?
I was such a distraught young kid, man. I was attempting suicide at least every 6 months. I was very, 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 very familiar with psychiatric units and stuff like that. My first hospitalization was in State College when I was 15 years old. I tried hanging myself in the boys' bathroom. I was just tired of life. And it was just like, you know, my first hospitalization was there. And then my last hospitalization, my last, like, full hospitalization, like, I had a little mishap with my meds. So, like, I had to go into the hospital and stay in the psych unit for, like, 2 days just to get my meds readjusted. I wasn't suicidal. Yeah. But the last time...
precautionary.
Yeah, precautionary stuff was the last time. Like, but the actual real last time that I was in there for attempting suicide was 5 years ago. And I was in the recovery unit in Geisinger in Danville, Pennsylvania, and I was just like, I got to go where the fire started when I was like 14, 15 years old. You know what I mean? So I just decided to go back up to State College and get help. And I was away from home for so long, but I needed to do what I had. Like, I needed to do it. You know what I mean? And one of the biggest, like, it was like an eye-opening experience. You know, we just got done with group, and an older gentleman who was there, I think he had dementia or something. I'm not entirely sure, but he was a sweet old man. You know, I just felt bad for the guy. You know what I mean? But he looked at me dead in the face, dude, and he was just like, "Why are you dying at such a young age?" You know, and I was just like, "What are you talking about? I'm not dead. Yeah, you know, I'm still here. I'm still alive." And then it was like, I don't know, like 10 o'clock, 10:30 or something like that, dude. I like had an epiphany. I was like, holy shit, I'm killing myself from the inside out because I hate myself. You know what I mean?
What was your like upbringing or like?
Dude, I had a wonderful childhood. I'm not gonna lie. I had a very wonderful.
When it comes to like school, were you an outcast? Did you fit in?
Well, there were times where I was an asshole in school to people and stuff like that. But once I left middle school, it was just a shit show. You know what I mean? I was an asshole to certain people in middle school and stuff like that, but that was just because I was trying to get fit in, but I was also still being bullied at the same time. Like, I was being an asshole, but I was being bullied still. So you know what I mean?
You being that way was a way of just protecting yourself a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Just to protect myself a little bit. And, you know, it just, dude, as soon as I left my middle school and transferred over to another middle school, it was just a shit show, dude. It was just a shit show. I hated life. I hated who I was. I thought I was a freak and like all this other stuff. And I strayed away from acting for a long time and stuff like that when I was in middle school. Cause, dude, Mrs. Rao, my 5th grade teacher, is what sparked my madness in my brain. Excuse me. She sparked that madness. And the first big role I ever had in middle school, it's so sad that I remember this, but it was California Cowabunga in a show called Groovy. And when I heard the audience react to what I was doing, it was like an instantaneous drug. I was hooked. Yeah. It was just like, ooh, like I can do this type thing. And then I strayed away from it for a little while. Like, even though like when I transferred from my old high school to my new high school at Shikellamy High School in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, I was still doing theater and stuff like that, but I was still fucked up in the head, you know what I mean? I was still doing shit, you know what I mean? So I lost somewhat of that spark of insanity, you know, that I loved. And high school and all that was just a shit show for me, dude. I hated school.
Tough to fit in. And
it was, for me, it was tough to fit in. Like, I actually just reunited with a really good buddy of mine because we were in ISS. We were in school suspension. And, dude, he saw the spark of madness in my eyes because I used to, like, do, like, my acting stuff in ISS, and, like, my buddy Gilly would, like, he saw that, and, like, we reunited because, like, we finally are getting our shit together type thing. And it's just nice to have someone like that.
What age did you start using?
Started... Like, everyone says that pot's a gateway drug. I firmly don't believe that. I don't. I think humans are the gateway drug. I started out pretty much with alcohol and just moved my way up and just started doing really stupid shit. You know what I mean? If you want my honest opinion, I think alcohol for myself was the gateway drug.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I had an alcohol problem.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. Doing a beer podcast and meeting a lot of people and meeting people in bars and stuff, there's definitely you can definitely cross a line. I think with us, like, I do a lot of beer shows, and very rarely I even get buzzed because we'll get 4 people and split one bottle.
Exactly.
It's more or less testing it, and because I don't want sending my guests home drunk and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But there is a weird line to it, you know, like, and it can go with anything. You could overindulge in anything on the planet, you know, like
my God, you
caffeine,
can
you know, I mean, anything. Yeah.
I think for me personally, the gateway drug or whatever you want to call it, I think was alcohol for me, and I just spiraled out of control.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Now, when you said marijuana, the only thing I'm very pro. I think marijuana should be legalized.
Oh, definitely.
But I did have an experience with marijuana where it was laced with something very, very, very strong. Yeah, that's not good.
No, there's like when I hear stories like that, because I myself never had an experience like that.
It was rough.
I never had an experience like that. Of course, like, I was a trash can, so I did a lot of shit.
Yeah.
When I was doing drugs and stuff like that, but. You know, since people can sit here and say I'm not sober because I do smoke pot, but people can sit here and say I'm not sober, but in my eyes, I'm sober. I'm staying away from the hardcore drugs, and I'm staying away from fucking alcohol. I don't want to touch that shit.
Yeah.
I just want to...
I'll tell you what, if pot was legalized, I would probably use it myself. I mean, I use CBD at the moment.
Oh my God, yeah.
I do CBD.
Yeah.
It helps tremendously with anxiety, depression.
Oh my God.
And my joint pain. I have really bad joint pain.
Yeah.
So there is definitely medical benefits to that stuff.
Oh my God, yeah.
But yeah, it's for a while there, I think I was very close to crossing that line with alcohol because I was using it as a pain pill because I refused to take pain pills.
Yeah. Definitely.
But I've definitely learned how to curb that.
Yeah. And you know, some people are like very strong-willed like yourself, you know, and I know my weaknesses. I know that if I were to have a sip of alcohol after 5 years of being sober, everything would go downhill, dude.
Yeah, 100%. But so you said you started acting very young.
I did.
Middle school. When did your vices kick in? The everything else.
The everything else. So I studied film and television. That's where I got hooked with film and television, was in New York City. Okay. Because I studied film and television in New York City. Now, coming from pretty much rural Pennsylvania to
this is after high school?
This is after high school. Well, no. I got into the NYCDA after I got sober.
Okay.
I was still using and abusing drugs after high school, and I've been clean for 5 years and stuff like that.
How old are you now?
I am currently 26.
Okay. Still young.
Didn't
even hit the dirty 30 yet.
Oh, don't remind me, bro. I feel like I'm going to have a midlife crisis just thinking of it, dude.
Hey, now. 32 here. I'm well past my dirty 30.
I mean, I have nothing against it, dude. It's just like when I turned 26, I was like, oh my God, it's creeping up.
It's getting there, yeah.
Yeah, it is. But like when I finally got sober, I was just like, I need to take charge of my life. You know what I mean? So I decided to apply to a school called the New York Conservatory of the Dramatic Arts, Film, Television, and Acting School. Yeah. NYCDA for short. It was a great experience. I still have friends from up in New York City and stuff like that. Still have friends on Facebook from classes and stuff like that. It's just I personally could not handle the city life.
Yeah.
When you go from...
I can't do big cities either. I can't do large people.
Oh, it's too much. Dude, it was like my anxiety and mental health issues were just like...
Yeah.
Like out the wazoo, dude. Like I couldn't sleep or anything like that. Might I also add, a fucking Hell's Angels clubhouse was right next door. Oh. So it was just like, well, you know, gotta hear motorcycles at 3 a.m. when I'm trying to sleep and get sleep for class. Yeah. You know, I just couldn't get used to it. So I did take medical leave because my grandmother died when I was in college, and then I tried coming back. I said, I can't do this. Like, it was just way too much for me. But there was still that spark. Like, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to be an actor. And, you know, while I was pursuing my careers of acting and stuff like that, I stumbled upon motivational speaking because I spoke at Midwest. I told these I told the youth my story. And there's no better feeling on this planet after you're done with the speech and all this other stuff that these young kids, because let's just admit it, dude, like we live in a really, really scary time.
Yeah.
We do. We live in a scary time for these kids. There's no better feeling on this earth, and I put that on everything, dude, than having these kids approach you and saying, thank you, like, I'm going to start doing something for myself. Like, there's no better feeling on this planet, dude. There's no better feeling on this planet than me doing a film or something like that and someone saying, like, do I still get people fucking messaging me about Second Chance, the documentary that I dropped?
Yeah.
And there's no better feeling on that. Like, there's no amount of money in the world that can, like, I love it.
Yeah. So you have a documentary out?
Yeah, it's called Second Chance. It's on Facebook right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, I did that last year with KP Films.
Awesome. Now, when you said you enjoy doing acting and stuff, what are some of your type of movies that you personally like watching?
That I personally like watching? I love watching pretty much anything and everything. Some of my close friends can vouch. My family can vouch. When I watch a film, I'm not watching a film. I'm studying the shit out of it, dude. Like, I'm figuring out eye contact, facial expressions, body language, like everything. And it drives me insane, but I love it.
Yeah.
I get so into the film itself that the world doesn't exist. Like, a gun could go right off next to me and I won't hear it because I'll be so fixated on the film if it catches my interest that much. The films that I enjoy the most that I really want to do are like, I just want to be that superhero. I love superhero films. Like when I saw like all the Marvel films and DC films, dude, like I just want to be, because I want to be that actor to just show up anywhere and these kids see me and they're like, oh, yo, you're this guy. I'm like, yeah, dude, like I want you to be a superhero too and get all excited about life and stuff like that. Like, that's what I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the superhero movies are definitely, they're burning me out. I'm burnt out.
You're burnt out? I can't get enough of them, bro.
I read a lot of comics, but the movies are burning me out.
I understand, though. I do. I completely understand.
Yeah.
The other genre that I would like to dabble into is like horror, but I would like to get into like psychological thrillers. You know what I mean? Psychological thrillers are like, because people, actually one of my buddies and I talked about this, that horror is such a big genre in general. You know what I mean? There's so many subgenres to horror itself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to any movies.
Or to any films itself. But like, dude, like for some odd reason, when it comes to like, you know, horror and just categorizing the psychological thriller, I fucking love it. You know what I mean? Like,
I think the most recent one that was probably the biggest hit for psychological thriller would be like the Babadook.
Yeah, the Babadook. Oh my God, don't even get me started on the Babadook. That film was done so brilliantly.
Yeah, it was really good.
I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And still to this day, my favorite horror film is the original Halloween.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of it.
Part 1 was good. Part 2 was good. Part 3 was good, even though Michael Myers was not in it. It was a good movie. And then everything after that was horseshit.
What did you think of Rob Zombie's
I thought they were decent. I see people who, if you tell me that you liked Halloween 4 through Rob Zombie, like before Rob Zombie, but hated Rob Zombie, I was like, then I can't have a conversation with you, because
I agree with you.
Because everything after Halloween 2 with Michael Myers was horrible.
I agree.
The storylines didn't make sense. Characters were dead in one movie, then came back to life the next. And
I agree.
Then there was a cult. It was just so dumb. Like, at least like people don't like when they humanize a horror movie character, and I think that's what Rob Zombie kind of did. He gave you a backstory, where people liked Michael Myers because he was mysterious, and he wasn't a big dude. He was like a normal sized guy. He had like supernatural strength. Yeah. So I can definitely see that. But I mean, for like, if someone tells me their favorite horror genre, like horror movie series, is Halloween, I'm just like, I can't talk horror with you, because there's only 2 good movies in the whole series with the original character.
I'll tell you the reason why Halloween is my favorite horror film.
At all the genres.
Not all the like it, but it sticks out to me because of my past.
Yeah.
Because I've been in psych wards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to think of it in an in-depth thing, like in an in-depth perspective, that could really fucking happen type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But was he? It was weird because when that movie came out, mental health wasn't even a talked about thing.
It wasn't a talked about thing.
So instead of, and I think this is why people didn't like the Rob Zombie version. The same reason that people don't like the new Joker, because when you show people mental health issues on a theater screen or production, it turns people off because it's too real. Where Rob Zombie dove into Michael Myers and he wasn't a possessed. Because it was kind of like, the best way I can describe it is when people had mental health issues back in the day, it wasn't like, oh, we should definitely get them looked at. No, it was like they're possessed by some type of evil entity and we need to throw them into a box.
Yes.
And that's what Michael Myers was. And he wasn't a supernatural. I mean, he kind of was, because in the other movies, like they shot him in the eyes and he kept coming and all those weird things. But if you break Michael Myers down, he probably wasn't a supernatural entity.
And I agree with you.
He was just a mental health case.
He was a mental health, and that's what freaked me out.
Yeah,
that's what freaked me out, and it was just like, I think that's why I liked it so much.
Yeah,
because there's some batshit crazy people out there, dude.
There is, definitely is.
There's some batshit crazy motherfuckers out there, dude. And like when I watched that film from a sober perspective after that and stuff like that, I was just like, yeah, this shit could really happen. Someone, you know, people think that these people are stupid, and they're not.
What do you think of the reboot, not reboot, that just came out?
I thought it was. Listen, I thought it was okay. I thought it was the backstory was good and all that.
He's not even Jamie Lee Curtis's brother anymore.
I know, and that's what I was just like.
Now he's just the guy that comes after her because she's the one that got away.
And I thought it was okay. I was just very confused.
Yeah,
like that one had me confused. I think. When it comes to like when they try to reboot stuff like that, I think you just need to stick with the storyline. If you want to reboot a film like that, you need to stick with the storyline. You know what I mean? Like, for example, one of my favorite all-time sci-fi films that was filmed back in the day is The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I love
the redid it with Keanu Reeves.
I did not like the remake. I thought it was complete and utter garbage.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? Like, I hated it so much because the original film was absolutely fantastic, even though people will be like, oh, it's so corny, blah, 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 blah.
Well, it was made for its time.
It was great for its time.
Yeah.
You know, like, for example, like one of my all-time favorite adventure films is The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad.
Okay.
Did you ever see that film?
I have not, no.
It was, I believe it was created back in the 1950s.
Okay.
And it was great.
Yeah.
It was great, and then I think they tried to reboot it or something. Like, no, they didn't. It wasn't that one. I forget which.
Clash of Titans.
No, not Clash of the Titans. I forget the other adventure film that was made in the 50s that they tried to reboot, and when you try to reboot films from the 50s, like classic films like that, and you try to reboot them and redo a story and shit like that,
give it better special effects.
Yeah,
some of them work.
Some of them do work.
Clash of the Titans was cool.
Yes, Clash of the Titans was great.
King Kong was cool.
King Kong was cool.
I like monster movies, though. I'm a huge monster movie guy.
Okay, favorite monster film?
Godzilla.
Oh, God. Yes.
I like the new one, too.
I think that I thought...
I didn't see the newest one yet.
Neither have I.
I'm waiting for that. We don't have a movie theater anymore in our area, so it's hard for us to go see movies.
I'm very lucky we do have a movie theater.
We used to have an awesome movie theater, like right up at the Fragful Mall. It had like a 21 and older section, and it had its own private bar.
Oh my God!
And restaurant.
Yes.
So like you can go and get a meal.
Yes.
Get a beer and then go in and watch a
They
movie.
need to bring stuff like that back.
It was so awesome, and the staff was like, it was like our second home. Like the staff became best friends. It was such a good.
They need to bring. We went and rented. Me and my best friend, we rented movies last night, and it freaked me out because of this Redbox stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm not into the Redbox thing.
I'm like, dude, what happened to Blockbuster and stuff like that? Like, these kids will never know the joys of just picking out a freaking movie.
I used to love going there. On the way out, we'll show you, but we have a bookshelf, and it's tripled. Like there's 3 rows in each shelf.
Yeah,
because we used to go on a Friday night. Me and before she was my wife, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. We didn't get a long time. But we'd go to Blockbuster and it'd be like 10 movies for $20.
Yeah,
and like you would buy, and you would buy like a whole bunch of movies and go back to the house and watch them. Like I miss that stuff.
I do too.
Because Blockbuster would because they wanted to make sure everyone had a chance to rent something.
Yeah, so
we'd get 50 copies of one movie, and then they would sell the copies at a deeply discounted price. Like, I don't know how they went out of business. I mean, streaming obviously, but like, I honestly feel if they brought it back,
it would be huge.
I think it would do well.
I think it would be huge because like my best friend and I were at that Redbox. I'm like,
it's not the same experience.
Oh, dude, it drove me nuts.
Well, here's what I don't like about Redbox that I liked about, Blockbuster. You walked into a Blockbuster, and if the store was good and hired the right people, you walked up to the counter and be like, "Hey, man," or "Hey, what's up, lady?" And they'd be like, "What should I watch tonight?" And like, "What have you seen? This?"
Oh my God,
that
yes.
human interaction.
The staff was so knowledgeable.
Or even when you're in the like when you're sitting in the aisle and you're sitting in the horror section, and the guy standing next to you or the person standing next to you, you're like, "Dude, what should I get?" And you had that human interaction. You don't get that at Redbox.
You don't,
Yeah.
and that's what I think that's what humans lack.
Yeah.
It's communication.
Yep.
And it drives me absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Because, excuse me, I will wholeheartedly admit to this. I was caught up in the whole social media thing.
Yeah.
I think everybody gets in that phase.
I mean, I'm obviously in social media because of what I do.
Yeah.
But I try to use social media for a different platform. Like, when you're looking at my social media or our channel stuff, we're not throwing negativity in your face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I got caught up in the bull crap of social media.
Like, I have friends who go to other, like, so if they have a belief in this topic, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is my point of view. This is the way I see the world, is this lane. And there's stuff going on in this lane, there's stuff going on in this lane. They'll follow the other two lanes just to piss themselves off.
Exactly.
And then just sit on social media and be like, oh, look at this idiot. They believe this.
Yeah.
And they comment and say, like, I hate you. You're a piece. And I'm like, you are
Okay,
literally
listen,
a sponge. Like,
listen.
that's not good for you.
I'm throwing my hands up right now, dude. Okay?
You used to
I'm
do
throwing
that?
I fucking did that, and then I just said, fuck that. Like,
I don't argue with people on social media.
like no, like I got into politics and all that other shit.
I hate politics.
I did, and and I hope some of my friends like watch this. I sounded like an asshole, like I did, and now I'm looking.
Were you right or left?
I was right, but
How far?
Dude.
Pretty far?
It's pretty far. And then it was just like, and then it, like I look at it now, and I'm like I just want to just hit myself in the head.
I look at it
I
like-
sound like an asshole.
Yeah, I look at it like listen, politics are, I guess, good if that's what you're into, just like as religion.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I look at politics like we have a right and a left, and neither one of them give a shit about poor people or middle
No,
class
they don't.
people.
They don't.
But
They don't.
They like to take away rights that affect them in 0%, but they affect us tremendously, and then we fight over it, so we don't realize that we're sheep.
We're pretty much puppets.
Yeah, we're
That's
sheep,
what we are.
yeah.
We're pretty much puppets.
Yeah.
And I sound like an asshole, and I just look back on it, and I'm just like,
like I'll just say, like, for example, like abortion or food stamps. If they get rid of food stamps, or abortions, it doesn't affect them in the least because they're rich.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like not one politician's
Exactly.
out there going, "Oh, I need to make sure this is the thing because it's going to affect my life."
I saw an article on Facebook on Mark Wahlberg and what he said. And he said that celebrities need to stay away from politics.
So I disagree with that.
You agree? You disagree with that?
I do, and I'm a big Mark Wahlberg fan. I think it annoys me is when a celebrity or a musician or something like that speaks out on politics, and then people tell them because they're famous that they don't have a view or a say in the world because now they're rich, and I think that's not fair to do because. On the same token, here I am as I would say I'm an everyday dude. Hence the name of the show. Interviews with Everyday People. And if I have a platform that I can possibly use to help people, now I'm not trying to. My platform's not political.
Hell no, it's not.
My platform. I mean, we'll have conversations. If you have a firm belief in what you believe in, sure, we'll come down and talk about it. But
yeah,
I'm probably not the best conversation because I don't care. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, because nothing you're going to tell me is going to affect my day-to-day life.
Exactly.
But I don't like when everyone's like made fun of Colin, like I said about Colin Kaepernick and how, like, I'll just use an example. His from this is just my take. We could be completely polar opposites, but I don't think his view and his protest was anti-military. I don't think it was anti-flag. I don't think it was anti-America. I think what he did was more American than what most people are willing to do for themselves because a lot of people are afraid to stand up and say there's something wrong because we're so proud in our country.
Well, see, and I agree with you on that because, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he ask a military person on what he should do instead of stand?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
So what's the issue then?
Yeah, and but the problem is that the one side of the media portrayed it as his view. The reason he was doing what he was doing was anti something else.
Exactly.
He was anti-police. He was anti-bad police.
Yes, he was anti-bad police.
And to say that we don't have an issue with certain I mean, we'll say I mean, it's not just with black people, but people in general. Like, I don't care if you can't tell me as a human being if you're driving down the street and the lights hit behind you, and I don't care if you're someone who doesn't have drugs in your car, you don't have a drop alcohol.
You get scared.
That's not good.
It is.
You should not be like, oh my God, am I going to die right now?
Exactly.
Like,
and I 100% agree.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, me personally, as someone who's aspiring to be in entertainment, I will speak on certain issues when it comes.
And you really
to stuff.
you can't really speak too much because then you can alienate yourself and not get an audience.
Exactly. That's why I stray. I tell them that, you know, I'm not anti-government. I just wish that our government was not as corrupt as what it is.
And it's never going to change.
And it never is, and I can't do anything about it.
And neither one. And how they said, like, they're going to take our guns away. Even if we have our guns, no one's going to stand up and fight against it. It's not going to happen. It's already too late.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the other thing is that the whole religion, like, the one thing I like to stray away from when it comes to, like, certain topics is that if someone's like, what are your political beliefs or what are your religious beliefs? I'll be like, I myself am an entertainer. I don't talk about politics. I don't talk about religion. I consider myself someone who's very spiritual and is now open-minded because I like to hear people's opinions on 100%. Stuff.
I would say I mean, if you talk to my right-wing friends, they would say I'm liberal. I wouldn't define myself as liberal. I don't really define myself as anything.
Exactly.
I don't like to put labels on stuff, but
exactly.
I'm for people. Like,
exactly.
I don't care if whatever pronoun you want to be called or however you feel. Cool. That doesn't affect my life at all. If your name was this and now is this and you feel like this, that's not changing me at all.
Exactly.
I'm not losing sleep over that.
Exactly.
And I'll respect you as a human as I would want you to respect me. As well as if you are a person who now there is certain topics that I'm not for or against, but I do have questions on. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. And that's your human right.
And I think people are afraid to have those conversations because the second you stand out and say, "Well, I don't really feel strongly on this topic," and then everyone go, "Well, then you're this and you're an asshole because you."
Exactly.
I'm like, I'm not questioning or saying that you shouldn't be able to do that. I'm just asking the question of where can we meet in the middle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people don't people are not like that. People are.
And religiously, I mean, I know like people who are in recovery. I think religion is very good for those people because religion and recovery are very hand in hand. But
I agree.
I was into church. I was not raised in it, but I was a part of it for a while, and it's not for me. It's not. Now, do I have questions? Sure, but questions in religion don't work out because you're not supposed to ask questions,
dude. When I preach about life and stuff like that, I like to do it on a scientific standpoint because there is science backing some stuff up.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So, like, the odds of us having this interaction right now is a 400 trillion to 1 chance.
Yeah.
Those are the scientific and statistic odds of becoming a human being. That's proven. Okay, that's fact. 400 trillion to 1. That's the odds of becoming a human being. Okay? To me, that's a neutral ground. When I preach, I want to be on a neutral ground.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to reach the audience on a neutral ground. I was born and raised Roman Catholic. I don't consider myself Roman Catholic because I myself like to look at different aspects of different religions and stuff like that and make my own. You know what I mean? Because that's my human right to be able to do that.
I'm very spiritual in the aspect that I feel like, it kind of sounds hippie-ish, but I'm like what you put in is what you get back.
Exactly, and
so
I agree with you.
If you wake up every day and you're just a negative piece of shit asshole and you're like, I hate the world and everything about it, you're probably going to fall into a depression. You're probably going to fall into a world where you're going to become paranoia. You're going to fall into a world where you're going to think everyone's out to get you.
Agreed.
And it's not good because you put yourself in that mind state. If you wake up every day and even though someone shovels a pile of shit in your face,
and you're happy,
you find a way to be positive about it and say, you know what? I wish that person well. But they'll get theirs. Like, and you don't wish for it to happen.
Nope.
But just be like, you know what? Like, they're not a happy person. I hope they find that peace one day.
Exactly.
And you just move on. You wipe the shit off your face, and you go about your day. Like, I kind of like to portray. I think that's my higher power.
Exactly.
Just treat everyone how I'd want to be treated, and let's keep things moving. You know.
And I totally agree with you on that because I think a lot more people, if a lot more people just tried to be a little bit more understanding and a little bit more open-minded, we would live.
Like, don't get me wrong, I'm very into the I think it's because the rock and roller in me, and I like the rock and roll music and the horror movie and the dark and the scary and the spooky. Mm-hmm. So I do like the dark imagery a little bit.
Of course.
And I kind of rock it. Like I do have, like my other hat has like an upside down cross, and I have the ticket to hell on it. Like,
yeah.
So I kind of, and I think people see that and they're like, oh my God, he's a Satanist or he believes in the devil. I don't believe in God or the devil, just to be honest. But I think the idea of the boogeyman is kind of cool. And
exactly.
And I kind of enjoy, like, emotions are a broad spectrum, and I think it's okay to experience those emotions. It's cool to be scared sometimes.
I love this.
It's cool to be loved. It's cool to be, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Like you just shouldn't hide away from those things.
I wish more people were like this because like this is how I think.
Yeah.
It's just like, for example, here's a funny story. So my mom works at the church that I used to go to. Okay. And that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, my mom is like that. Cool. Okay. She forgot her cord for her laptop, and there was a funeral going on, and I was blasting Highway to Hell by AC/DC, blasting it in the church parking lot, not even thinking of it, because to me it's just a song.
Yeah.
And my mom looks at me and she starts laughing. She goes, "Good music choice while there's a funeral going on."
Should have been Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah, my mom, and I'm like, what are you talking? Oh shit, okay,
Yeah.
but but to me it was funny. You know what I mean?
I'm very weird when it comes to serious situations too, because I always try to find humor and stuff. So
exactly.
like, even at a funeral, I'll be like, oh my God, like this is so weird. Like, what if they sat up and they're really playing? Like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Like, I was at a funeral. I won't say like who it was, but there was a funeral I was at, and the woman who was killed had a sister that looked exactly like her, right? I've never met the woman who was killed, but I went with somebody else because I was there to be supportive. Mm-hmm. And there was 2 times in this funeral I laughed, which is not good to do, but that's just me. I wasn't laughing at somebody's murder or someone's death because it was, I don't know if you've ever been to a funeral where someone has been murdered. It's crazy. It's not a good, it's a different type of funeral, right? So we're sitting there in the funeral, and I'm looking at the pictures of this woman, right? And all of a sudden the doors open or someone comes in the church, and I look, and it looks like the girl in the pictures. So I was like, all right, I'm being punked, right? So I was just like, dude, is there like I just see a ghost? Like, what's going on right here? And then I was like, oh, it's her sister. So I got humor out of that. So then during the service, it was like, you know how like they have like the old man in the back who sings the deep bass so that he can project to the whole church.
Yeah.
And then you have those little old ladies who sing the high notes.
Yeah.
Well, these 2 old little ladies were like battle singing, like who can sing higher. And it got to the point where they were just out singing the other ones, and their voices were cracking. And I was in the church just crying, laughing because no one else is like paying attention to it.
Yeah.
It was.
I probably would have been in the same boat.
Yeah. It was, like I'm at a funeral laughing. Like,
I always try to find the humor in life.
Yeah,
because
100%.
dude, life is just way too short to be bitter and pissed off and
100%,
all this,
yeah.
and all this other shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, everybody's like Westy Howard, because that's my nickname back home is Westy.
Westy?
Yeah, like everybody's like Westy Howard.
How did you get that?
Because of my dad. Because my dad's nickname was Westy, and then everybody just started calling me Westy.
Did you live on like the west end of town?
No, I did not. I'm from Upper Augusta, not Sunbury. That's I was just joking around, but like people would always ask me like, Westy, like, how are you so happy? And it's just like, life's too short, you know. Like, I lost my job today.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But why am I gonna?
You find another one.
Exactly. Like, why am I gonna? I had anxiety yesterday about it, but then I thought about it like when I woke up, like, God. There's so much more to life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's what makes me so sad about humans. And it's just like people live in this like robotic state of mind where it's go to school, get a 9-to-5 job that I hate, die.
Yeah.
Like, no, please don't do that. For the love of God, don't do that.
Yeah.
There's way more to life than that. If you have, like, I always, especially with my short edits and stuff like that I'm currently doing and stuff like that, I always encourage people. I don't care how far-fetched it sounds. You want to be a fucking astronaut? Go be a fucking astronaut.
Yeah.
You want to own your own business? Go own your own business. I will encourage anything you want to do because life is too short not to do what you love.
Yeah, I think that's why, like, and a lot of people, I think a lot of people are into it. I think it is growing, and I think a lot of people shit on it too. Is the podcast world? Like,
oh my God!
realistically, and I'm not shooting down dreams because he just did a little positive thing there, but like not everyone could be an astronaut. Like we don't have a space, like the Space Force is not a thing yet. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
But if you're really into space, if you're really into that stuff, research it, study it. Find people that are like-minded about you. Go buy a microphone. And you're not going to be an astronaut, but you can base your life and make that your hobby and make that something you strive for. Like,
exactly.
I work a 40-hour week job, and then I do 4 shows on top of it. And people are like, you're crazy, you have no time. But this is, for me, someone who struggled with anxiety, depression, and suicide as well. This show keeps me busy, and it gives me something to look forward to at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So when I'm sitting on my couch and I have nothing but idle time, what tends to happen to me is I just want to sleep the whole time.
Exactly.
I fall into a little bit of a muck or depression, and then I'm like,
exactly.
And then I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, it's 4:30. I should probably get up and not watch TV anymore because I have to meet somebody at this time and do a show. So for me, that's my spark. It gets me going, and then I meet people, and then I'm happy I'm having a conversation. So,
I love it.
So this is my muse, and everyone should find that muse.
And I agree with you. I 100% agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I love doing podcasts as well is because we're able to do this.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
We're just two strangers who didn't know each other until
not even
less than 40 minutes ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people don't understand my path. Like I do. I love podcasts.
Where exactly did you just on Facebook?
I found you guys on Facebook, and I'm like,
was it like a sponsored ad?
Yeah, it was a sponsored ad.
Look at that. Facebook, my $10 worked.
Like, dude, I found you guys, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I want to do this, you know, because I did a small podcast with Rome Runner Studios.
Okay.
But then I saw you guys, and you guys are all about this. You know what I mean? It's just like, yes, I want to be on it, like, because I consider you guys an actual podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you guys are growing. And I love that because I love being around people who are as passionate as I am.
Yeah.
I am passionate about acting and motivational speaking. You are passionate about your podcast, and I love that. I love the fact that like people from my area are going to see this. You know what I mean? Because in my eyes right now, I'm living the dream. Yeah. You know what I mean?
If there's anyone in Sunbury that wants to come hang out, or we can come to you, let me know.
Yeah, like for real. And
I've done it before, but I'm going back to Harrisburg in December. We do shows all the time all over the place. So like I said, local businesses or anything like that, I'm always down for it.
And it's and to me, like if like I love it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because when in my eyes, and I think the saying is so true, you are who you surround yourself by.
Yeah. You put yourself around negative people or depressed people, you're going to be depressed.
Amen to that, dude.
Yep.
You know, my friends, like, dude, we always try to be as upbeat as possible, even in the most shittiest of circumstances and stuff like that. Like yesterday, I was with my best friend, and it's so shit. They fired me over text. Like,
really?
Yeah. Like,
what was the? If you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to. What was the grounds?
Because I had this.
Really?
Seriously. But I thought this was more important in my eyes.
So you got fired for this podcast?
Because I couldn't work, and because like I don't know, I felt
terrible now.
No, don't feel terrible.
You bagged work for the show and I got fired for it?
I don't give a shit, dude. Do you know why I don't care? Because this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to be able to do film, television, and stuff like that. And plus, I want to be on podcasts. Because I'm an everyday human being. Yeah. I go through shit.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm doing this for a little bit now. This doesn't pay the bills yet. So
exactly.
So you gotta find a gig again.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I know I'm gonna find another job.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, dude, why not? You know what I mean? Like, it's not every day you're gonna be able to do a podcast and all this other stuff, especially from our surrounding areas. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I know there's a lot of podcasts in our area. I don't know how many are doing what I'm doing. I'm just being honest. If they are, then please let me know, because I would love to do. I like collaborations, man. I like I said, I do a wrestling show. I know a bunch of different wrestling podcasts, and I'm not the one who says I'm not going to listen to theirs because they're I don't see competition. I'm like,
exactly.
Let my audience go see your audience. Let your audience see my audience. Like there's so many cool ones in this area.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Because there's one thing that I want to do is I want to share my passion with the camera with someone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If there's an aspiring actor and actress out there in my area, you got to let me know, because I want to share my passion with you. Now, I don't see competition like you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you do like fill in extra work like that at all?
I've been trying to and stuff like that. It's just been, dude, from the area that I'm from, like, dude, like extra work and stuff like that.
You have to travel.
I have to travel.
Yeah.
And like right now, I can't really financially afford it. Dude, like the majority of the extra work that I've been finding that pays decently is like fucking Pittsburgh and Philly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have a friend who does extra. He's an inspiring actor as well, and
Yeah.
he's sliding into the extra work, and he's kind of getting him like he's trying to go that route and scene.
Yeah.
But also he does like theater as well. So like, is there like a theater project in Sunbury?
Listen, if A&A Productions listens to this, I will probably tag Angie in April. I miss doing dinner theaters.
Okay.
The reason why I love dinner theaters...
Careful tapping the mic, picks it up. You're good.
The reason why I love doing dinner theaters so much is because I get to interact with the audience.
Is that when people go in and they try to figure out the murder?
Like murder mysteries and stuff like that? I love it.
I never done one, but I would like to try one.
Oh my God, they're so much fun, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the beauty of stuff like that, dude. Because especially like with someone like myself who's still trying to make some noise in the entertainment industry, because I'm independent.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
It's hard.
It's very financially draining. Thank God.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God I am with a small studio right now, 0.5 Films, and they do all my filming. Shout out to 0.5 Films. Shout out to Tom. Like, I love him for that. Like, he's like, yeah, I'll work with you.
Yeah.
Like, all filming's on, like, we'll work together.
Yeah.
Cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was saying before. I hear you were saying before, like putting yourself around positive people. Like I think the surrounding people in my area, for the most part, I do hang out with podcasters, and I hang out with a lot of musicians. I'm the guy. I wish I could have been a rock star, but I can't sing. I can't do any of that, and I can't play an instrument. But I love music. So, but hanging out with other musicians and hearing them grow, and like we're working on an album, or working on this.
I love it.
We're doing a show this weekend. Like I kind of mix their energy with mine. Like, okay, for how excited they are to do a show on a Friday in a bar, I'm excited to sit down on a Thursday and do my show. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
dude. Shout out to all the aspiring hip hop artists in my area.
Well, the intro music to this is a hip hop artist from Harrisburg.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I love that, dude. I love being able to support local talent, and I will admit, I sent them an apology video, the two hip hop artists. I'm not going to say their names.
Yeah.
But I got in hip hop beef, and I'm not even in fucking hip hop, dude. It was so fucking stupid.
What, you just said you didn't like their music?
No, it was just like, I just sounded like an asshole. So I sent them an apology video on Facebook Messenger. I don't know if they saw it or not, but, you know, I did what I thought was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I manned up to my fuck up, and I moved on. I think the two individuals that I had a little bit of a beef with, I'm not going to discredit them. They're both extremely talented and all this other stuff.
What kind of rap are they?
To be completely honest, they're a mixed genre of like rap. I mean, their music is not my forte.
Yeah, I have a hard time with newer hip hop or like newer rap. I don't even call it hip hop because hip hop to me is an art that's very, very hard to find.
You know what I've been on a binge lately? I've been on a Gangstar binge.
Okay.
Been on a Gangstar binge, especially the new song that came out with J. Cole. It's called
I like J. Cole a lot.
I love J. Cole. You know, I like raw stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me a story. Don't tell me that you're doing drugs and all this other shit and you're smoking a shitload of weed. Like, I can give a fuck less. Like, everybody does that.
Yeah.
Tell me a story. How are you going to overcome? How did you overcome the struggles and stuff like that? I love storytelling. I think that's why I enjoyed Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
Nipsey Hussle, like, there's so much controversy with that dude, but like when you dive into his music, Nipsey Hussle was real. You know, like, it sounds so strange because I'm in acting, but people like Nipsey Hussle and J. Cole and stuff like that, I felt their pain emotionally. I've never been in a ghetto-ridden area, but I felt their pain emotionally.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. School County and probably, I don't know how Sunbury is, but I like how people are like, oh, you're not from the hood, you're from Monty City. Yeah, Monty City's a poor-ass town.
Well, yeah, so
is
like, Sunbury, but it's not like hood, like it's not like hood.
The only thing that we don't have that they have is gun violence at this point.
Pretty much with Sunbury.
But we don't have gun violence, but we have people dying every single day of heroin.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
We've had a couple shootings in Sunbury and stuff like that, but one of my goals, it sounds so strange because people are like, that's weird because you're an actor. One of my goals is to put nonprofit gyms in some of the most crime-ridden areas in this country. I want to put nonprofit gyms in Compton, Oakland, Chicago, and stuff like that. Why? Because I want kids to have an outlet. You you know, I may have never grown up in the fucking hood, but I can give back. If I became blessed enough, I want to give back like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I could give a fuck less about money and fame and all this other stuff. Because what am I going to do with my craft? Like, if I have all this money and shit and I'm not doing anything with it, like, what the fuck's the point of having it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, of course, I want to give money back to my city, and stuff like that. But the reason why I want to do these gyms and stuff like that was because one of my goals, because I became obsessed with fitness as well, one of my goals was to compete, and I competed in men's physique. And I want a kid one day to maybe have an obsession of fitness. And maybe one day I can not produce, but I inspire a kid to do better in life because he had that outlet. You know what I mean? I don't want it to just only be a gym. Like, I kind of want it to be like a rec center type thing, because
the problem is, and this happens a lot, is towns do put in rec centers.
They do.
And then they become places that people go and just spread more negativity.
Exactly.
Yeah, it sucks.
But I feel as if I need to do something if I make it as an actor, because it breaks my heart seeing these young kids go to bed with gunshots.
Yeah.
Like, that's not cool, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cool to see how my city is doing, you know, because, like, it's not what it was 10 years ago. You know what I mean? It breaks my heart, you know? And it's just like, I just want to help people. You know what I mean? If I become blessed enough as an actor, like, the fuck's the point of having a lot of money? Like, if I'm not going to use it for
there
good.
is things you can do in your community now before you even get famous. There's a lot of things.
Oh, yeah,
you can donate your time to.
I was really pissed off because I fucking worked, and I wanted to do it, and a little cafe wanted me to be part of a photo shoot, and I couldn't because I was working. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I felt so guilty.
What were you doing for a job?
I'm delivering for Domino's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. and we
got fixing potholes too. That whole thing where Domino's was fixing roads.
Oh yeah. I got into that too. You know,
were they actually doing it?
No, I don't. I don't know if they ever get. I don't know.
I've never seen a Domino's truck fixing a hole this entire time.
Yep, same dude. I think it was a false promise. You know what I mean? And I'm just. I mean, like, it was a realization that, like,
Mrs. T's Pierogies filling a bunch of holes. Did you see that?
Are you serious?
They had a truck overturned with, like, the scrap potatoes and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was all over Interstate 81. And they said it was the smoothest the road's
Did you ever see that guy on Facebook, Andrew Blank? Mm-mm. Oh my God.
Oh yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah.
He's from the band
Send Request.
Yeah, Send Request.
Yeah.
I met him.
Oh, dude, he is absolutely fucking
As
hilarious.
you said it, I was like, no, and I was like, oh yeah, I do know him. Yeah, I met him through a band that I'm close with in our area called Mahantango.
Yeah,
really, really, really talented dudes. I had another friend who's a musician. He was filling in as their guitarist. Mm-hmm. And we went to like this. I felt really weird because, man, I'm 32 years old.
Yeah,
and I'm old as shit. Mm-hmm. And I went to like a house party.
You must have felt so awkward.
It was fucking horrible, bro. All right, but I was there because
I'm 26 and I'd feel awkward.
You would have fit in way more than I did because that was the crowd, like 21 to 25, 26. Like my little brother, I took my little brother with me because he was home from the military.
Yeah.
So he wanted to see Mahantango play. Mm-hmm. So we went to go see Mahantango. I didn't get to see Send Request play, but I talked to them, and there was Cold Hands was another band in the area that was really good.
Okay.
Like a really good music scene. Okay. And it was literally in someone's driveway, like under a parking garage.
Awesome.
It was a cool experience, but I just felt really out of place. I was old as shit, and they knew it.
Well, I kind of gave up the party scene. You know what I mean?
See, I can understand that because you had your things. It sucks that the only way people can be social and be into that stuff is through alcohol. Unfortunately, you don't have to be, but I can see how that can be. I mean, like, a temptation because that's what they serve at all those shows.
Yeah, but
like you can't go to a music show that's dry.
You can't,
unless you're listening to the gospel.
Yeah, exactly.
But nobody wants to do that.
I do feel really guilty because, you know, if my boys from Invictum see this, like I love all the dudes from Invictum.
Is that a band?
Yeah, they're growing real fast from our area.
What type of music?
Rock. You know,
heavy, classic.
They're like hard rock, and I like them. I like their music. I think they're extremely talented and shit. And same thing with some of the guys from American Evil and stuff like that.
I know them.
Yeah.
My buddy used to drum for them.
And it's just like, I really wish I could be there.
Mm-hmm. It's just hard for you to be in a bar scene.
It is, dude. Yeah. It is, and it sucks because like I don't want them to think I don't support them because, dude, I see what they're doing. I'm like, fuck yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I love it.
Who are some of the big bands in Sunbury?
Definitely American Evil and Invictum.
Okay,
for sure, especially in the like rock genre and stuff like that.
Nice.
Like Invictum and American Evil. You know
next
what I mean?
not next Saturday. This Saturday coming up, I'm actually going to Poughkeepsie. I think I'm saying that right. Poughkeepsie, New York. And I'm going to see Crowbot. Okay. My buddies from Crowbot. And they're on tour right now with Steel Panther.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Holy shit.
I don't know how long you've been following our page.
I've been following your page for a couple months now.
Did you see that I threw a music festival?
Yes, I did see that. How'd that turn out?
It was really, really good.
Congratulations.
It was awesome.
Do you know what I want to do? Seriously and honestly, it sounds so fucking stupid, but I really want to do it because I have a lot of friends who are artists and in music and all this other shit. For my birthday, I just want to have a venue of artists.
That's kind of what I wanted to do, and I just did it.
Like, I just don't know where to start because I've never fucking done it. You know what I mean?
The best way to do it is if you have connections with bands and you can get them to work out a deal and do stuff like, I don't want to get too much into behind the scenes of Skookstock, but Skookstock started off with all the bands that were on my show. Mm-hmm. And I said, man, it would be really cool if we had like a band versus band beer pong tournament. And they're like, that would be fun. And then somebody messaged like, well, I have a venue that you guys can use. Would any bands be interested in playing that day too? Maybe we can even sell some tickets, and then the bands can make money. I'm like, yeah, we can figure that out. And then it grew from that, and then we got 2 national acts with Crowbot and Fate's Got a Driver. So that so my buddy Randy's in Fate's Got a Driver, which is Eddie Reyes from Taking Back Sunday's new project, and they're fucking awesome.
Hell yeah,
they're really, really good. So it just turned out to a big local show. It was fun.
I did forget to mention a band, the band Sorry from Williamsport.
Okay.
Yeah, like Lee's making noise as well. I forgot to mention him. I'm sorry, Lee. Like, if you see this, like, I'm sorry. Like, you're making hella noise. I'm really proud of you, dog.
Dude, I love interviewing bands, especially ones I don't know.
Oh hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Like, dude, I love seeing people in entertainment because whether people believe it or not, like, and that's what I can't stand sometimes is like this local beef bullshit. Like, dude, we're all in the same boat.
That's one thing we're super, super fortunate to have in our area. Like, for the most part, all of our bands, whether you're original or cover, all support each other. And it's fucking awesome.
There's like some. Do you have any hip hop artists?
We do not.
Yeah, see, well, we have a lot of hip hop.
But I'm sure if someone came out and did hip hop,
they'd be supportive.
They would be supportive.
I really wish that, like, because I will admit, I got into the bullshit beef and stuff like that. I got dragged into it. I'm like, what the fuck am I in this? I'm an actor. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't give a shit.
Like, I know the Harrisburg area is really big with the hip hop scene.
Yeah, Harrisburg's huge with that shit.
I have a friend who does shows in HMAC.
Mm-hmm. I know where HMAC is.
Yep. Yeah, he does the art. Like, it's like 4 people. They do 4 different shows that showcase R&B, hip hop, and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah. And I have nothing against local hip hop artists or anything like that. I have nothing. I don't. It's just I really wish, like, I understand battle rap and shit like that. Like,
yeah, battle. See, here's my thing. I am a hip hop fan. Mm-hmm. I like old school hip hop. There is some newer stuff out there that I like, but some of the stuff I like, people make fun of me because I like it. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I don't give a shit because they're doing something different than what you're doing, and I think what you're doing is unoriginal. That's just, and I'm not making fun of hip hop artists or rap guys, but there's like, I'm watching that show now, that show that Cardi B has on Netflix where they're trying to find the next big rapper. There was a girl on there from Reading, Pennsylvania.
Oh shit.
Yeah, she was good, but she was like also very like the hard, like, fuck you, like, but she was really good. I liked her. You could hear her struggle and her anger and stuff, which was decent. But most of the people on that show were just rapping about I call it cookie cutter. You know what I mean?
I understand completely.
Like a genre of music I really can't get into is country. I can't get into country. And here's a funny thing: country hates rap, and rap hates country. But they're at the point now where they're like, unless you're commercialized, you don't get played. And to make a country song, you have to hit these 7 requirements and make that cookie cutter shape and have the same style beat, the same style guitar lick. And rap right now is doing the same exact fucking thing. Are you talking about these 7 things? Boom, cookie cutter, put it on the tray, bake it, there's your rap song.
Exactly.
And there's no substance to it.
There is.
And even when you think you're doing something with substance, you probably sound like somebody else.
Do you know who's making a lot of noise right now? Independently. And he is from Ashland City, Tennessee. Ryan Upchurch.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard
Country
of him.
guy?
He's a hip hop artist.
Oh, God.
He's a hip hop
So it's like the worst of both worlds.
Dude, I'm sorry. I know I know it sounds horrible to you, but dude, he has made so much noise. He got a shout out on Elton John's radio station.
Really?
Like, I'm sorry.
I mean, I'll listen to it, but I'm definitely going in with reservations.
and I understand. I went in with the same ears and stuff like that, dude. But like, I don't know. To me, he's just raw for who he is. He's true to himself, and that's why I think I appreciate him so much. He's very true to himself, and he's very true to his fans.
Yeah.
He's still low on the totem pole. I mean, he's got over 1 million subscribers just on YouTube and stuff like that.
Good for him.
You know what I mean? But
That's
like,
not easy to do.
That is not easy to do. But like, you know, when you're raw with your fans and when you're truthful with who you are, I respect you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When the money and fame doesn't get to you because he has money and all this, like he just bought a Lamborghini for shits and giggles, but he's humble about it. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't show off or anything like that. Like, and it's just like, I appreciate that because that's what I want to do with my acting career. So I will admit, I kind of look up to him, but if I were to pick like my favorite Southern hip hop artist that I really relate to is definitely Yellow Wolf.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I heard some of his verses that were good, but then I tried to listen to his actual albums, and I couldn't get into it as much as I thought I would be. I think what I liked him, he was good on certain features, but then when I heard him by himself, it didn't really do much for me.
I think I relate to Yellow Wolf because, well, we kind of had, like, I'm, like, where I'm from, like, where I live and stuff like that, it's a little development, but, like, literally, it's like 1.5 miles of woods.
Yeah.
Of play. That's how I look at it. And that's what I mean. He grew up in a poverty-stricken area in Alabama.
So that's the funny thing that Cardi B said on that show, and I know a lot of people hate her, but she's like, "Listen, everyone has a story. Everyone in music has a story. Everyone in general has a story.
Yeah.
So don't come in here and sell yourself for your sob story. Come in here and entertain us."
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, and I think, like when I saw your guys' stuff, I was just like,
"What interview was the first one you seen?"
I can't remember offhand, man. I literally glanced over it and I was like, shit, he has like a legit podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just struck my interest and stuff like that. And it was just like, holy shit. Like, if you want my honest opinion, Anthony, I think you could go somewhere with this shit.
I'm trying.
I think you're not trying. I think you're doing.
Yeah.
And when you see stuff like that, because to me, it's just amazing.
I didn't think it's cool that someone from Sunbury seen my $10 Facebook ad that I did twice.
Dude.
And here we are.
I did an ad for Second Chance, and I have fans now from the UK. I have fans from Australia.
From Facebook?
On Facebook.
Wow.
Like, I checked my shit, and I'm
Did you do like a worldwide?
I did a worldwide just for shits and
Yeah, I
giggles.
just did 100 miles, I think.
I was just like, oh, fuck it. I'm gonna take
Dude,
it.
if this episode turns out and I become more popular in Sunbury, then sweet. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like I'm trying, like my next goal here, obviously with the merch store, like I'm telling people, hey, go grab a t-shirt, or if you want to make a donation, we have that as well.
Yeah.
But like I finally just got new microphones because when I first did this, so like a little backstory, you know Kevin Smith, obviously, if you're an aspiring actor.
Yes.
So Kevin Smith wanted to make a movie, you know, and instead of just saying I want to make a movie, it's one thing to sit there and say, like, I want to do this. This is my goal. This is my dreams. I'm passionate about this. But if you don't make any moves on it, you're just talking. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So Kevin Smith was like, I want to make Clerks, you know? And he's like, I'm also very, very passionate about comic books. And he had a very large comic book collection. And it was very, very true to him. And he loved his comic book collection. But he also said he wanted to make movies. So he had to make a decision. So he sold all of his shit. He sold his prized possession comic books.
Yep.
What he cared about more than anything in the world, he sold all of them. And got all the equipment that you seen that he made Clerks with.
Yeah.
And now he has the money to buy those comic books 10 times over.
Exactly.
So at the time, I am a nerd. Like, obviously, you could tell by most of the stuff around you.
And I love it.
I'm a nerd. So I had a pretty decent collection when it came to memorabilia, like funk pop goes and all those nerdy stuff. And I was like, you know what? I want to do a podcast, and I don't want to be I don't want to be a podcast that is through, like, I've seen people who have podcasts, and I'm not saying this to make fun of you, because if that's the way you have to start, then go for it. But where they literally put a phone down and they have it going on Facebook Live, and they just talk to Facebook Live, and they call that their podcast.
Yeah.
That's not for me.
Exactly.
Anyone can make a podcast. But
yep, exactly.
I think you got to put a little something into it. So when people come to me and like, how can I do what you do? I always, or anything. If you want to be an actor, you want to be a director, you want to be anything, you want to be a film guy, a photography. If you're gonna go out and buy a $20 camera, to me, you're not putting it into it. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. I agree with you.
So I sold my stuff, and pretty much everything you see here, for the most part, except these microphones, is what the result of that was.
Exactly.
And then I started the merch store, and then I sold some stuff, and then I got the new microphones. But when I first started this, man, I had the wrong mics. I was using the microphones the wrong way. So the microphones I used to have, just an example, like we used them like this, right? But the way the microphone was designed is you were supposed to talk into this side of it. And we didn't use it like that, like, because that's the way the mic was designed. So we talked to them like how we would normally talk into this microphone, and that's why the first 100 episodes or 50 episodes you've seen on this channel didn't sound very good.
Trial and error.
And we learned every single time I hit record in that camera, I figured something new out.
Exactly. And I think there's.
Have you listened to Joe Rogan's very first podcast?
Oh, yeah.
It was horrible.
It was absolutely horrible.
It sounded terrible.
It sounded horrendous.
So I used to make jokes. I'm like, all right, we're doing, this is our 28th interview, right? And I go back and listen to them. Like, it still, to me, doesn't sound like I want it to sound, but we're still better than Joe Rogan up to at least 120.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. But the thing is that, like, progression.
Exactly.
And people forget that progression.
Yeah. It's okay to suck for a while.
It's okay. It's okay. Dude, the only thing that sucks with my careers is that we have to plan these things out.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? We do. We have to plan these things out. You know? You can't shoot a film out of nowhere.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
Nope. No, you definitely can't do that.
You know, and when it comes to, like, say, for example, I do become blessed and I do become, you know, B or A-list status and stuff like that. Dude, that shit takes a year or more.
Even longer.
Yeah.
90% of anything in entertainment, if you want to be a singer, a rapper, a rock band, a podcast, an actor, a developer, a photographer, 90% of it is luck.
It is 90% of it is luck. And it's, and dude, like, who knows?
And the other 10% is your skill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, dude, seriously and honestly, like, I'm taking this as a leap of faith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somebody out there on the internet could be like, he's an actor, but he has a great personality. You know what I mean? Or something like that. You know, I'm just true to who I am.
Yeah.
You know?
I try to do the same thing.
And dude, it's just like, there was a quote that I found on Facebook. I love finding quotes.
Yeah.
I think extremely emotional and powerful quotes.
I have a book of quotes pretty much of every facet of life that you can think of, and it's all quotes by Bruce Lee.
Love that.
So when I'm going through some shit and I'm like, man, I'm at work and
Yeah.
I'm like fucking I'm getting complacent because when I'm at work, I have dreams and I have aspirations that I want to be more than I am.
Yeah.
And then I'm at work and I'm like, fuck, is this where I'm going to be forever? And I love my job and I love everything about my job. But I always feel like I could be more than that. And with anything, like even when I'm doing this show, like, man, how can I make this better? How can I go from this kitchen to an actual studio? Like everything. Like I'm always thinking a way to better myself. So and so I'll read like a Bruce Lee quote, and I just be like, and most of them are just like, hey, take your time, just keep working, it'll happen. You know what I mean? Like just positive quotes. So I did the same thing. Yeah.
And dude, to be completely honest, when I read a quote from Mac Miller, R.I.P. Like I really related to Mac Miller. Like I did. Like when he died, dude, I cried a little bit because like that was the two most influential people in entertainment that I wanted to meet when I made it was Robin Williams and Mac Miller. Those were the only two I wanted to meet. Everyone else, I give a shit less. And I don't mean to sound like an asshole. Like yes, in Second Chance, I said I wanted to act side by side with Will Smith and act side by side with Jim Carrey. There's a difference between me wanting to act side by side and then meeting.
Why Jim Carrey?
I think he's brilliant, even though he's a nutcase.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a nutcase. I I don't know. I just think some people get misunderstood when they try to be.
When they try to be there, people say he's a nutcase. In my eyes, he's not a nutcase.
I don't think he's a nutcase.
I think he's just more open to who he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think he's a nutcase. I think he's just more open to who he is. But I think he's a brilliant actor, and I think you're getting
to see now who Robert Williams really was. Or not Robert Williams, Jim Carrey, who he really was, and then the Ace Ventura nonsense was whatever he had to do to get famous.
Exactly. And
he was acting into our hearts, and now he's like, now I want to be me.
Exactly.
I'm getting, because people change.
I think if you want my honest opinion, I think he played the system very well.
Yeah, I do too. And not maybe he didn't. Maybe the way he did Jim Carrey, or the way Jim Carrey did Ace Ventura was exactly how he was at that point in time.
Exactly.
But just like every actor, just like every podcast, just like anyone in entertainment, you are not the same person that you were 20 years ago. You're not the same person you were 10 minutes ago. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago.
Exactly. That Joe Rogan said that on one of his podcasts.
Oh, did he?
He did. He said that you are not the same person as you were a year ago or a week ago. So why are you complaining?
I used to listen to a lot of Joe Rogan, but because I really picked up the steam on this, this show on alone, Interviews with Everyday People, used to be 2 interviews a month. That's how I started. And now it's every Monday. Someone sitting at this table.
Dude, high five.
Yeah.
High five, dude. That's fucking awesome.
Not Cool in High School and Tornado Tag Podcast were bi-weekly. So we took a week off one, and then the other Tuesday we did the other. Now, Not Cool in High School is every single Tuesday night. And then I stay up Tuesday night, do all the video editing, audio editing, to make sure it's out the next day at 12 p.m.
Dude.
And then wake up in the morning and go to work.
You got to do what you got to do.
And then Tornado Tag Podcast is recorded every Thursday, and it's out by Friday. It's like it's a grind. It's a grind,
dude. So for this horror film, I'm currently slowly cutting weight because I want to look a certain way. Cause I'm kind of selling myself on camera. If you want to really think about it, I'm portraying I'm selling myself, and so I'm currently cutting weight. Well, I'm currently also being coached. You know what I mean? For this whole entire thing. It's not fun to go to the gym when you're cutting weight the way that I'm cutting it, but I got to go do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I want to be portrayed as if I want to portray myself as in a certain way, I got to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how I take my acting career is like a full-time job as well. You know what I mean? Will Smith once said it, practice makes perfect. I do a lot of mirror techniques and all this other stuff so I can be prepared for a role and stuff like that. I'm mentally preparing for this role as we speak for, the horror film that we're shooting and stuff like that. Well, I think you could technically call it a psychological thriller. But for me, like I'm consistently preparing, even if I'm working a full-time job, dude, like I'm consistently preparing for the camera time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what drives me is that I feel alive when I'm on camera. I feel alive when I'm doing a speech and, helping the youth and stuff like that. And I feel really good about myself when I do these types of podcasts and being able to interact with individuals. Like I never met you, dude, and you're cool as fuck.
You know what I mean? I try.
You're cool. You're cool as fuck, and I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy these types of interactions because life's just, like I said, life's just too short.
100%.
Life is just way too short.
And everyone has a cool ass story, man. There's so many. I actually just found out, this is completely sidebar and nothing to do with you at the moment, but just talking about how life is short and stuff. So there used to be an elderly gentleman from Monty City. So when I first met him, I thought he was a creepy old dude. Because he walked up to me. I'm 18 years old at the basketball court, just playing basketball, and he would just stand there and stare at us. And I'm like, all right, that's weird. I'm gonna put my shirt back on. And I'd walk, And the one day he walks up and he goes, "What's your name?" And I go, "Here we go." Right. So this, I'm about to get hit on by, And he's just like, and I told him, and he goes, "Who's your grandmother?" And I said, "Why?" And he's just like, "What's her name?" This, and I went, "Yeah." And then he's like, "I used to be friends with your grandmother and your grandfather," and he told me this whole story. And he's like, "I used to hang out with Muhammad Ali." And I went, "You're a fucking psycho, dude, whatever." And I walked away. And then I come to find out that when Muhammad Ali would train, he would hang out in our area. Like he had a camp that's less than 45 minutes from us in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania.
What the fuck?
That's where he trained for the heavyweight title. You know what I mean? Like
what?
His doctor he went to was from Monty City, and he was my history teacher's dad. So, and this guy was friends with Gene Kilroy, who's from Monty City, now lives in Vegas. So then I was like, you know what? I took a leap of faith and I said, I'm going to sit down with this guy because I've always been this podcast has been something that I've been doing without even having recording equipment for a long time. I would just sit down with somebody and be like, yo, I'm just going to learn about you.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I would do it all the time.
I can tell that you're skilled at this.
Yeah. So I would just have, like I said, people are like, oh, you're a really good interviewer. I'm like, I'm really not interviewing. I just have a conversation. I'm a very good conversationalist.
Yeah.
If I can change anything about this show, I would have never named it Interviews with Everyday People. It would have been Conversations with Everyday People.
Yeah.
But we're past that point already, and I'm not changing it. Because logos cost money.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, there's a... yeah, so I sat down with this guy, and I used to sit with him till like 4 or 5 in the morning. I'm 18 years old, and we just sit in his house and watch black and white videos of Muhammad Ali at training camps and stuff that he videotaped by himself, and look through his photo albums and then watch all Muhammad Ali's fights. And I was like, this is insane that this guy lived this life and he's living in our town and no one fucking knows. Like, it's insane to me. Like, it was just insane. So rewind maybe a couple weeks ago. I met John. I seen John maybe a year or two ago before the mall got torn down. And he walked up to me and asked me how my gram was doing. And I was like, he's losing it. And it kind of made me sad. Like, you know, he didn't he knew who I was, but didn't know who I was. Mm-hmm. And it bummed me out. And I was like, man, he doesn't have much longer to go. So, and then I moved out of Monte City and I bought this house, and then life happened. So I never really kept in contact. I thought he actually passed away. So I'm up at, I'm a really odd person when it comes to like the show as well. But I'm like, you know what? I really enjoy something here, or I really enjoy a business, or I really enjoy a person. I will never ask someone to come on and tell their story because that's their personal story. But I might reach out and be like, hey, is it possible if I can do a show where you're here or come talk to you about what's going on here? And I just, out of the blue, messaged this Muhammad Ali's training camp. They have a Facebook page. It's called Fighter's Heaven if you're interested. That's what Muhammad Ali called it. He goes, this place is like a fighter's heaven. Mm-hmm. Rocky IV, where it took place in like wooden, like log cabins in a barn, and that's where he trained. A lot of that was inspired by Muhammad Ali's actual training camp. Like, they went up to that place and looked around at it and said, this is amazing. This is exactly what we'd want. And that's what they kind of got the idea for Rocky IV. So I messaged the guy and I was like, hey, can we do this? And I said, yeah. So I drive up there and he's like, hey man, I really have a lot of things going on today. I didn't anticipate this. If you can give me like an hour or two, I'll hang out with you. We'll talk and we'll figure something out and maybe set something up for the future. And I was like, all right, you want me to just come back? And he goes, well, if you're already here, like all the doors are open, just walk around and enjoy yourself. Excuse me, right? And he's like, yeah, like this is the gym, this is the cabin that Muhammad Ali stayed at, this is the cabin his family stayed at, that was his church or his mosque, that was all his training camps, this is his kitchen, the original table that you're sitting at is the table he sat at. Like, insane. And I walked around and got to experience that. So then hung out with the guy a little bit. We're sitting down in his office and I see an old shoebox on the table, and I looked at it and I was like, that's John's shoebox. And I said, do you mind if I open that? And he goes, yeah. And I said, this is going to sound crazy, but I think I know whose box that is. And he goes, who? And I said, that's John Clark from Monte City. And he goes, you're 100% correct. And I was in Muhammad Ali's training camp, and I opened up John's box and got more emotional because it was John's stuff than I was sitting in where I was sitting. You know what I mean? And then we did an episode on Friday, and I was talking to a guy who just randomly is the Historical Society guy from Monte City. Mm-hmm. So like, I like stuff like that, like historic. Like, eventually, I want to get this equipment where I don't have to bring a huge soundboard and hook up to a computer, and then I just want to bring like this little mobile thing, but it's expensive. But I want to go to like the old folks' homes where these people have nothing to do. Like, they just literally live in their room and come down and have rec time for an hour. And they have the stories there are probably insane. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree with you.
And I would love to talk to people like that. I actually did an interview with my grandmother because that's never something I'm going to ever have again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then I found out, long story short, I know they drew this long, but I found out from this guy, like, I was like, yeah, I was at the Muhammad Ali thing, and then I seen John's camp. How is he doing? And he literally died 3 days ago. And I was like, man, like... But it was like, just, so I always tell people, like, the reason I'm doing this, or just in general, how, just to tie it all up, is, man, you never know when those moments are going to go away. And like, there's always a way to cherish it or memorize it. Like, for a while there, they used to call me the selfie king. I'd go to a bar, I'd go with friends, and I'm always taking pictures with people and like, let's take a picture together. And they're like, dude, what are you, like a fucking teenage girl? And the reason I started doing that is because I had a friend who passed away from a drug overdose. And after he passed away, I had one picture with him. I hung out with this dude almost every day not every day, but probably 3 or 4 times a week. And and would do it for like all that time for like maybe 5 or 6 years, and we had one picture together. And I was like, man, like I don't have that memory. Like, and the thing is like visually, you can remember what someone looked like for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. You can remember memories of that person for the rest of your life. But one thing that you cannot control and it eventually will leave you is you don't remember their voice. You don't remember what they sounded like. If you can think back of a family member, there's someone in your life that was probably the most influential person in your life, but to think of what their voice sounded like, that's the first memory you lose. So that's where I think a podcast or an interview system is something that you can go back. Like I can go back in 10 years from now and sit down and watch an interview I had with my dad because he hung out and had a beer with me in a show, or I sat down with my grandmother, I sat down with a friend of mine, or someone who was in a band, and I have that forever now. Like these are gifts for me as well as just sharing them with other people. Like, and that's pretty much why I'm doing what I'm doing.
That's fucking amazing, dude.
Like that's the underlying secret to this whole podcast.
Fucking amazing, like, and I love it.
My Not Cool in High School show is literally me sitting down with some of my best friends and just having normal conversation about video games, movies, and what's coming out, and making it somewhat entertaining. Someone who could tune every week, like, oh my god, I wonder what game was coming out this week, and I wonder what they think about it. So yeah, we're a source of news and entertainment. But for the underlying thing behind it is, even if 6 people listen to it, I'm thankful for those 6 people. But
exactly,
I like the fact that I'm sitting down with my buddies just having a conversation. And I have that forever, you know.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Wow, that hit home.
Yeah, and that's where I just try
beautiful.
I just try to be legit with that, like legit and honest about it, you know. Like, and then I meet
beautiful.
someone new like you, like, and 10 years from now, you everything you said you're gonna do, you do. Man, I sat down with that guy 10 years ago. He was a cool dude, you know. Like
that's beautiful.
Yeah, if my show can inspire someone to push themselves to be better people, then that's and someone can listen to this, or even someone sat down across from me and got something out of it, that's my mission's accomplished, you know.
Amen, dude.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so God. That's so beautiful. Pardon my French.
No, you're allowed to curse there.
But dude, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Because that's how I am with my films.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna die one day.
We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die one day, and I think that's why I enjoy doing motivational films as well. Because when it comes down to the underline, if I push one person through that film, I did my job.
Yep.
If I make one person relate to a character through my craft of acting, I did my job. You know what I mean? And I think that's what really, 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 really needs to be said in entertainment nowadays. You know what I mean? It's not
anything.
about
there's people who like, I want to, like, if you're getting into it with the hopes, I think, of that you're like, obviously you should always dream that you're going to blow up and that you're always going to be famous and stuff.
Exactly.
I think that's important. But if that's your only motivating factor, that you want the money and the glitz and the camera and the fame, you're not doing it for the right reasons.
You're not.
Yeah.
I love doing what I do because it the impact. You know, one of the most, like I said, one of the most influential people on this planet, for me, was Robin Williams. Him and I have the same mental disorder, bipolar. That's why I clicked with him. You know, one of the first things I started studying with Robin Williams was the Mark and Mindy show. You know, and then one of my favorite all-time films where he was serious was Good Will Hunting, and it was just like, this guy is more than just an actor. He was in
a horror movie too.
He was in a horror film, and I forget it.
He was a photographer. He was a guy who developed film.
Yes. Fudge. What was that?
It was I think it was called 48. No, it wasn't called 48 Hours. I forget, but he was like a creepy dude who
he was such a diverse actor.
Yeah, he was really good.
Did you ever see one of the last 2 films that he had? I know Netflix had it. Angriest Man in Brooklyn was one of his last films. I know Netflix had that one for a little while. I don't know if Netflix still has that. But one of the very last films that he did was a small independent film. He started picking up a lot of independent films for the simple fact was that he loved acting.
Yeah.
And he loved being able to be this big person in acting and help the smaller people. And
his stand-up comedy is fucking awesome.
his stand-up comedy was out of this world, but this film that he did for this independent company that was on Amazon was called Boulevard.
Okay.
I bawled. I do get emotional during films, but I hysterically bawled during that film because that's like one of his last films.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a serious and beautiful film because it's about a man who's struggling, because this is real shit that is happening still to this day, of individuals who are gay or lesbian struggling with their identity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And they'd rather die than be who they are.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
because society doesn't accept them.
exactly.
It's terrible.
And it is terrible.
I'm an ally.
Exactly. And it's about a man who got married, got married to a woman and like all this other stuff, but he always had an attraction to men, but he buried it down, and it just goes through his journey of really finding himself. And him and his wife are having an argument because she found out that he was actually gay, and I don't quote me on this, I think the wife's name was Rose. But there's a scene where both of them are on the stair set, and she looks at Robin Williams and she goes, "You never loved me." And he looked at her dead in the face with this like emotional, beautiful expression. He was like, "Never loving you was never a lie. Like, I did love you, but I need to love myself.
Mm-hmm.
And this is who I am, and you need to accept it."
Yeah.
You know, and I just like, I saw that scene and I was just like,
Yeah.
like, holy shit.
Well, Freddie Mercury was technically, I guess you would say, bi. Mm-hmm. But he did prefer men.
He did prefer men.
But he had a woman in his life that he would consider, like, that was his love of his life.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And just because he cared for her as a person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and when you said that whole spiel, dude, it just hit me because, like,
Yeah.
that's how I am with my acting, dude, because I could care less about the fame and fortune. Of course, I want to be a successful actor and all this other stuff. I personally don't want to move to California. I don't. I think it's overpopulated with actors. My dream is to move to Tennessee, move outside of Nashville, and just live outside of Nashville because I like the backwoods. You know, but I hate the fucking cold.
Yeah.
And it gets no colder than 40 degrees in certain parts of Tennessee, and like I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? But I just want to live a humble life as an actor. If I become super successful, I become super successful. But I want to give back, and I want to be able to make memories and stuff like that.
Awesome. So
You know?
we'll wrap up here with one. I have one little. We'll do a movie style question here.
Okay.
If Desert Island, obviously Desert Island doesn't have power, but just in our case it does.
Okay.
You can only watch 5 movies for the rest of your life. What are your 5 movies?
I hate you because I'm a movie buff.
I'm secretly listening, but also judging. So
I know. I would definitely. One of them would definitely have to be Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
I love that film. I have to say Dead Poet Society. Love that film as well. If I had to pick an action film, I would have to go with the original TMNT films. All of them, even though they were so corny and so stupid. So
the first 2.
So the first 2.
Yeah.
Okay, the first 2. Because I love TMNT. TMNT's my shit. I saw that and I was just like, yeah,
Shredder's
you're,
right here.
yep, like you're, I like you.
And
already.
actually, my favorite character from that series isn't even on the table. I'm a Casey Jones guy.
Casey Jones is a badass
That's
though.
my dude.
Casey
Jones
Jones
guy.
is a badass. Because I'm a huge I liked Michael Clark Duncan a lot. Green Mile.
Green Mile.
Definitely Green
Awesome.
Mile. So that's what, 4?
Yeah.
Last one. Jesus Christ, dude! I don't even know. Like you're digging deep for me, man. If I just had to like shoot in the dark, even though they were like, it's such an like corny. Actually, no, it's not corny. honestly, if I had to pick an action, like another action film, because it is one of my favorite series, because I do it is one of my favorite categories. There's a new film out there with Ben Affleck called The Accountant.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
movie's fucking badass.
Yeah.
Like,
So if I had to pick my 5, this is not in any particular order. Beetlejuice.
okay, respect.
Beetlejuice is there. The Goodfellas.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
Goodfellas, but Goodfellas.
Okay,
Wolf on Wall Street.
that's a great
That
film.
actually just like broke my top 5. Like that's an amazing movie. Mm-hmm. Pulp Fiction.
Can't go wrong with Pulp Fiction.
And then this is like my chick flick movie that I always say and people make fun of me, but The Breakfast Club.
Dude, The Breakfast
I
Club
think-
was a great film, though.
I think that movie is timeless, and I think no
Oh my
matter what
God.
age you are, like a kid going through high school right now can watch that movie and be like, holy shit, that's happening to me right now.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody asks. There's probably people going to be out there like, why Dead Poet Society? I just think it's a beautiful film.
Yeah. I always like those. I always feel like I could have easily been in the mob. Like 100%,
Yeah.
I could have done that. I know I could have done it.
Oh wait. Can I retract the Accountant? Because I just thought of this because
Yeah.
I like Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy is a brilliant actor. I like Tom Hardy. Lawless.
Okay. I hated him as Bane though.
I did not like him as Bane. I didn't.
Who's your favorite Batman? We talked about Batman and Joker off camera, so I'm just bringing that up now.
Favorite Batman? I really don't have a favorite Batman.
Ben Affleck for me.
Ben Affleck.
Because every other Batman I could look at him like I'd fight them.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure I can beat up Michael Keaton in his prime.
Probably.
Val Kilmer probably is the only one who would give me problems. Like George Clooney, I'm kicking George Clooney's ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Christian Bale, he looked like a crackhead. Like yeah. The only one that looked legit was Ben Affleck. I thought he was a cool Batman, and they showed him as a detective and also a badass.
Yeah. I
liked
Ben
Ben Affleck. And then Joker. I think if I had to pick my favorite Joker on screen, it's tough because to me, I don't think we've had a representation of the Joker from the comics to the movies yet. But
That is true.
I think the closest we ever got was Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I would definitely
Jack
agree
Nicholson.
with you.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with you.
Yeah, I wish that we would have seen more of Jared Leto's Joker because I think there was a lot more to that character that we didn't see because a lot of that movie got chopped up and thrown away, which pisses me off. I thought the DC movies were off to a really good start. If DC would have just let the people make a DC movie and not try to make a Marvel movie.
Yep.
But yeah, so I'm a huge. I actually have like 2 or 3 Batman tattoos. I'm a big Batman guy.
Dude, nothing wrong with that.
I'm
I
a big
support that.
Batman
Well,
guy.
dude, you're a Batman fan.
I'm a huge Batman fan.
I'm a huge Halo fan. Like
Halo?
One of my first. I don't have any tattoos, but one of my first things I want to get is Master Chief on me.
Nice.
The reason why is because
I'm a big Xbox guy, so yeah.
Dude, I remember when the first Halo came out. Ooh, I was addicted.
I hated Halo at first. I sucked at it. As soon as I would shoot, I'd be like, I got you, and then they would jump, and I'd just be like, my whole body would I wouldn't be able to figure it out. I was terrible at it. I'm a big Gears of War fan.
Gao. Yes, Gao. How was Gao 5?
Good.
Because
I didn't finish the story yet.
Because I made the mistake because I was. It's a personal story. I don't want to tell it, but it was just that I had to sell my Xbox, and
Yeah.
I don't have it. I'm dying.
I'm a huge gamer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I play a lot of games. Games move. Obviously, that's like my homework. Like I have to watch wrestling every week because I have to talk about it. I have to play a game or watch something new on TV. But yeah, there's a lot out there, man. So, and I know we talked about a couple of different bands and stuff, but besides what you got going on, what are some stuff you want to plug before we get out of here?
What was that?
Like plugs. What do you want to plug?
What do I want to plug?
Like what do you got? You got anything going on, or some things you want people to go look at, or?
Definitely, I think that a lot of people should check out the band Invictum. I definitely think people should definitely check out Sorry. For me, I like rock. I
think American Evil.
I think they
messaged me to be on.
People
Scoop
need
Stock.
to check out American Evil as well.
I could be wrong about that.
I'm really not going to talk about hip hop because there's some hip hop shit going on right now, and I don't want to pick favorites right now. But I'll talk about rock. I'm not going to talk about hip hop right now.
Yeah. Hip hop scene is interesting.
It is interesting.
I love them to death. Like I know I met a lot of really cool hip hop guys in Harrisburg, but
they're really great.
The
people.
problem is I think they're in such competition with each other, and your market, like same with rock bands. Like in this area, we're very fortunate because the rock bands all support each other, and I think like they just had a show the other day. I wasn't able to make it because I was doing a show, but like there was like 5 or 6 bands that were doing a show together, or not 5 or 6, but 3 or 4 bands that are doing a show together, and like other members of other bands showed up at the show.
That's what
and
we
by
need.
the end of the day, there was somebody on drums, one on guitar, and people singing, and they weren't all even like, it was all a mashup of other bands just going
That's
having
fucking
fun.
awesome.
And I think if hip hop adapted the accepting of each other and working with each other instead of saying like, well, F you because you're my competition, I think they would have a much better go.
I agree.
And I think hip hop has the problem too, where everything has to be like, you have to be your like. When people become a hip hop guy, it's kind of like the way I describe it, like classic rock and like hair metal back in the day. Like, I'm listening to the Motley Crue audiobook because I love Motley Crue, but those guys had to fit a certain persona to be a musician. They felt like they would overindulge the drugs, they would overindulge the girls, they would overindulge on the alcohol. Where the rap guys think like, oh, if I have to overindulge and buy like the freshest clothes and the best jewelry and buy a gun and have to have a body count, or I have to beat somebody up. Like you're more or less trying to dive into a culture or a way of people thinking that that's what you have to be your artist, instead of just focusing on your craft.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's a big problem when it comes to. And hip hop has been around a long time, but I think that's the only thing that holds a lot of them back.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also want to give a shout out to Point 5 Films. I'm very, very, very thankful for Tom and Point 5 Films. I'm very excited to do a lot of projects with them. We've been a little slow because, for him, he is doing Point 5 Films full time. But what pays his bills is weddings. Yeah. So, I understand.
I'll tell you what, I know a couple guys too that do music videos, and they make good money doing that, because a lot of hip hop guys and bands and stuff are just like, hey, I need a music video. So they and his end goal, Tom's end goal, is to pretty much own his own studio, and I really support him. And I think he could go somewhere with it because he's fantastic at what he does. Yeah. Also, I know I haven't worked with him for over a year. Definitely shout out to KP Films. KP was the first person to get me on camera when I came out of New York City. So definitely shout out to KP Films as well. Awesome, man. Is there anything you want to tie up? You want to talk about or get off your chest?
Dude, if anyone has a dream, just go fucking chase it. Just go do what you want to do, dude. Life is way too short. I encourage everyone to do what they want to love. Life's way too short, so why not take a leap of faith and do what you fucking love?
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, man.
Thank you for having me.
It was fun. It's awesome that I enjoy meeting people I'd never met before. A lot of the interviews I do is people I have met, or it was a friend of a friend. So it's really cool that the power of social media is actually working. Yes, and I'm meeting people. Like people are getting it from like further out of my circle than I normally have. So yeah, definitely spread the word out in your area. Maybe we can do some more stuff out that way.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much. And like I said, if you've made it this long, and please, if you made it this long, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. If you are listening just the audio, then definitely, I think iTunes, you can do like a rating system. Give us a cool rating or a review. Feedback is great, so you can always send us a message on Facebook or Instagram. Instagram is IwEP Network, and then Facebook is Interviews with Everyday People. Send us some feedback. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what we should work on, or what I should do better, because I'm not one to shy away from criticism or critique. People told me back in the day the microphone sounded like shit, and here we are with different microphones. So that all definitely works. But thank you guys so much. Like I said, links below for everything we talked about here. Just send me the links of all the stuff you want. Any of the bands we'll put in there. And check out our merch store. If you buy any T-shirts or anything, let me know. Take a picture of yourself with it, and we'll put it on our social media, because that support is definitely important. But thank you so much, Sean.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
It was a good time hanging out.
Yes,
Did you have a good time?
I had a great time.
Awesome, man. We'll definitely try to do this again. When your movie that you are working on does come out, we'll sit back down and talk about it again.
All right, sounds good to me, man.
Take it easy.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man.
No problem.
I hope you.
Hour and 30 minutes.
Oh, that's an actual legit podcast. Yeah.
Living my life, just living my life, just living my life. It's my time. Just living my life, just living my life, just living my life. It's my time. Athletic at the peak of my life. Slipped a couple times. I was speeding on ice. Never took a risk. Then you cheating your life. You never took a risk. Then you cheating your life. It's a hole in my heart, probably never be filled. And part of me thinks it'll never be healed. I lost some of my family to the dope. Overflow my mind with positive vibes, that's how I cope. They ask if I stop, I tell them no. Speak foul on my name, clean your mouth, that was soap. I'm crying right now while I'm writing this shit. I'm dying inside just from fighting this shit. Amidst all the darkness, I see light in this bitch. Give me one small spark and I'm igniting this bitch.
I think the saddest people always try their hardest to make people happy because they know what it's like to feel absolutely worthless, and they don't want anyone else to feel that like that. Robin Williams.